So now we are going to discuss, right? Okay, now in this session, what we are going to discuss, we are going to discuss what is the what how we can connect to the Postgres cluster using tools that we have discussed in the general purpose architecture. What are the different tools that we have discussed? We have discussed command line interface tools, which is a CLI, and we have also discussed about the GUI tools, and we have also discussed about the app servers. Okay, we have also discussed about the app servers. Okay, anyway, app servers is out of scope for us, so we are going to discuss what are the different tools that are available in the market to connect to the Postgres server which is running in the Linux machine. Okay, if it is a CLI, what is the utility that we have? We have PSQL. Okay, PSQL is a utility which we are having it to connect to the Postgres cluster. If it is a GUI, we have different types of tools. One is pgadmin. Pgadmin is a tool which is used to connect to the database, and we have a DB waiver, and we do have a DB Xolo and Pentahio These are the different tools that we have in market. Okay, DB Weaver is a licensed one, pgadmin is a freeware. Okay, now we will discuss these two. How can we connect to the Postgres server using PSQL tool, and how can we connect to the Postgres server using pgadmin? Okay, let's start with the PSQL. Okay, let's start with the PSQL. So what is the syntax? Okay, what is the syntax? Before discussing about the syntax, okay, let's say I have a Postgres database running in 192.168.29.30. And one more thing is, when I say a Postgres instance can have multiple databases. Okay, can have a multiple databases. So if you you are a client. Okay, you are a client which you are trying to connect to the Postgres, you are trying to connect to the database. Okay, if you want to connect to any database, then what are all the basic things that you need? You should know either IP address or host name of the server on which database is running. Second one is, you should know the port number on which the database server is running, and you should also know what is the username and what is the password. Okay, these are all the basic things that you need. Okay, these are all the basic things that you need if you want to connect to the any of the database server. It's not only Postgres. If you want to connect to any of the database servers, okay, you need all these details to get connected with the database. Okay, with these things in mind, so PSQL takes like these parameter hyphen h hyphen capital U hyphen p and hyphen d. Hyphen h refers to either it is a host name, either it is a host name slash IP address. Okay, hyphen h refers to host name or IP address. Hyphen u refers to username. Hyphen u refers to username. Hyphen p refers to port number. Hyphen p refers to port number. Hyphen d refers to database. Hyphen d refers to database. Okay, now let's frame a connection. Okay, PSQL hyphen h. So do we need to follow this order? No, the order is not that much important, or it's not considered. Okay, we can give it the values in any of the order. Okay, hyphen h refers to host name or IP address. Here my what is the database IP? 192.168.29.30. And hyphen u, I am trying to log in as a Postgres user. I am trying to log in as a Postgres user. Hyphen p, so what is the port number on which Postgres runs by default? By default, Postgres runs on a port number 5432. And hyphen d, I wanted to connect to a database. If let's say if my database is DB1. Okay, this is how you need to pass the values if you want to connect to the Postgres cluster using PSQL. Okay, so as I said, like you need to pass hyphen h, hyphen u, hyphen d, and hyphen p. But so whatever the things that we have practiced so far, simply I am using what? PSQL. Simply I am using what? PSQL. So when you use like PSQL, let me show that. Okay, simply I am using what? PSQL. This is what I am using. Okay, so when you give like slash c, it shows you are now connected to a database Postgres as in a user Postgres. Okay, so when you simply give like PSQL, So it will consider username as a OS user. Who is the OS user? Postgres. Okay, so if you don't pass any things, okay, any values, then PSQL takes the default values. What is the default value of hyphen h? Hyphen h default value is localhost. Okay, hyphen h default value is localhost. What is the default value of hyphen p? Port number is 5432. What is the default value of hyphen d? So when you don't specify database name, it tries to check, do we have any database with the name? Okay, do we have any database with the name same as username? What is the username here? Postgres. So it will check, do we have any database with the name same as username, which means it tries to check, do we have any database with the name as Postgres? Do we have any database with the name Postgres? Yes, we do. So that's how it considers the database name as a username. Let's say you are trying to connect as a test user. Okay, you are trying to connect as a test user, hyphen u test, then hyphen h will be localhost and hyphen p will be 5432. It tries to check hyphen d with the name same as username. So it will check, do we have any database with the name same as username, like test. Okay, so do we have any database with the name test? No, then the connection fails. Okay, then the connection fails. Let's say how to check list of databases, like /l. /l is used to list the databases. Okay, this database I have created, let me drop database test. Okay, /du. Okay, so this is how you will connect to the Postgres cluster using PSQL. Now second method. Okay, so as I said, so there are two types of connections in any of the database server. Okay, one is local connections, and second one is remote connections. What does it mean by local connection? If you are trying to connect to the database server from the server on which the database is running, okay, from the server on which the database is running, then the connection is called as a local connection. Local connection means this is a DB server. You are in the same server and you are trying to connect to the database. Okay, then that connection is a local connection. What does it mean by remote connection? Suppose here your DB server is running, as a you are a user who is sitting on some different computer and you are trying to initiate the connection. Then you need to, for PSQL you need to pass all values, hyphen u, hyphen h, hyphen p and hyphen d. Okay, so what is the local connection? If you are trying to connect to the database server from the server on which the database is running, okay, from the same server on which the database is already running, then that connection is called as a local connection. If you are trying to connect to a database server from a remote mission or from your client mission, then we call it as a remote connection. So with that knowledge, we are going to discuss like how to connect to the Postgres cluster using pgadmin. Okay, pgadmin is a open source software where you can download and install. The installation is like straight away, this is a .exe file, just you can download and click next and finish, that's it. Okay, so now we will try to connect. Before connecting, what are the details that we need to have one user. Okay, now I am going to create a user called create user. Okay, create user connector with password. So the thing is how to create a user and all those things we will be discussing it in the user management. Okay, with password test123. This is the user that I have created. Okay, how to list the user? /du. /du is a command to list the users. Okay, I have created a user called connector. Now what I am trying to do, I am trying to establish a connection to my database server. Okay, I'm trying to establish a connection. Connection to my Postgres server. Now what I'm going to do, now I am going to I'm going to create a server. Okay, this is the other environment. Okay, this is a offline training is another batch environment. Now I need to connect to your server. Okay, if I want to connect to your database server, what is the first thing that I need to know? I need to know the IP address. Okay, how to check our IP address? IP config sorry, if config 192.168.29.124. Okay, so now right click on server, register server. So the name can be anything. I am giving like 730 batch, 730 class. This is the connection name that I am giving. In the connection, it is asking for the IP address 192.168.29.124. The port number is 5432. The database that I am going to connect is PostGres. Username is connector. And the password is what? Test123. Now let me try to connect. It should throw an error. Okay, it should throw an error because I'll tell you why. It is throwing an error. What is the error that is getting? Unable to connect to the server, connection timeout. Unable to connect to the server, connection timeout. Why it is getting connection timeout? By default, whenever you install a Linux machine, what happens, right? The firewall will be enabled. Okay, that we need to disable it. Okay, let me disable the firewall first. One minute. So I'm trying to disable the firewall. So okay, let me disable it. Apply. Yes. Okay, I have disabled the firewall. Now let's retry. 192.168.29.124. While doing that, let us check whether it is pinging or not. Okay, ping 192.168.29.1. It is pinging from my Windows. Did I give anything wrong here? Let me check. Connection timeout expired. It's not supposed to be. 1 minute. Host name -i. Okay, cd/etc/sysconfig. Let me check what we have here. Unboot equal to yes, boot to yeah, 192.168.29.124. It is there. Then why are we getting this? Let me check. Give me a minute. Let me check. Something is there. System tools. So when we are able to do the putty, why are we not able to? Why are we not able to connect to the PG admin? That is the point that I'm trying to understand here. Somewhere there should be network things, network connections, network administration. Okay, wired settings 192.168. Yeah, this is same. Then why are we getting this connection timeout 192.168? Let me check. Is there any space? 192.168.29.124. It should not get connection timeout because we have a connectivity between this my Windows machine and um, my Windows machine and this one my Linux. Okay, so if you see 192.168, it is pinging. Why are we getting the connection timeout? Let me check. Okay, and one more thing is let me change one parameter first, but I don't think that is an issue. Let me change one parameter. Yes, PostgreSQL dot conf. There is a parameter called listen underscore addresses. Okay, listen underscore addresses by default it is set to what? By default it is set to localhost. Just we are configuring this parameter to accept both local connections and remote connections. Let me change it now. Let me restart. Or for this we need to go for a restart. Let me try now. But this that yeah, okay, this is the latest version of Postgres that I am pgadmin that I am using. So the error is not actually it has to show. Okay, the error it has to show is like connection refused, it has to show, but it is showing connection timeout. Okay, so now so what I have tried to do, what is my Windows IP? My Windows IP is, let me check IP config. So what is my Windows IP? 192.168.29.119. Okay. So my what is my Windows IP? 192 dot, okay, 192.168.29.119. From this IP address, I am trying to connect to the database server that is available in 192.168.29.124. Okay, 124. Now let's observe the error carefully. What is the error? Unable to let me take a snip of this. So what is the error that is showing? So unable to, so what is the error? Unable to connect to the server. Connection failed. Fatal. No pg underscore hba.conf entry for the host 192.168.129.119. What is this? This is my client IP from which I am trying to connect. Okay, from which I am trying to connect. This is my Windows IP from where I am trying to connect to the Postgres server using pgadmin. For the, so what is the username that I am using? I am using the username connector. I am using the database name Postgres. Okay, I am using the database name Postgres. What is the error? No pg underscore hba.conf entry. Okay, which me what it is trying to tell is right. You are not an authorized person. Okay, you are not an authorized. If you are trying to connect from 192.168.29.119, you are not an authorized person to initiate the connection to the database server. Okay, your host based authentication, okay, your host based authentication is getting failed. Who is going to perform the host based authentication? Who is going to perform the host based authentication? Postmaster is a process which is going to perform the host based authentication using a configuration file called pg underscore hba.conf. Okay, so with this I am concluding this session. So our today next topic is, we are going to discuss about the host based authentication. What is pg underscore hba.conf? How can we make the entries into the pg underscore hba.conf to resolve this error? So why we got this error? We got this error because hpa is failed. Why it is failed? Your postgres system or your postmaster is thinking that the connections that are coming from 192.168.29.11 is not secure. So for to avoid this error, we need to change the entries in the pg underscore hpa.conf file. That will be our next topic, which is host based authentication in Postgres. That's it for today. We'll connect back in tomorrow.